welcome to episode 60 of the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. Also just dropped some wool on the floor because ever the consummate professional. Right, this is a podcast about knitting, spinning, sewing, crochet and a whole range of other fibre crafts. Yeah, I don't even really know what I've been doing craft-wise recently. Certainly not as much as I normally do. Since I last recorded, I think I've done very little actual making. I've said that, and now I'm going to show you some stuff that I have made. You may disagree with my I don't feel like I've done very much statement. Now, where were we up to? Last time I was working on the Crochet Dress, a Better World dress, and I haven't made any progress on the actual garment itself. It's still the length that it was. Hang on, there we go. So if you remember from last time, I'd got as far as this purple section and run out of yarn. Now, the ball of wool that I dropped on the floor, just bear with me while I fertle under the chair for it, is this one. This is the spinning fibre that I showed you last time. So there is some BFL in there and some rose fibre and a random thread of commercial novelty yarn. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but I got it spun up and plied and ready for working. I just haven't actually done anything with it yet. I will show you, I will add in some pictures of the original braids of the rose fibre from Mermaid's Purse yarns, I think. It's not in the cupboard. That would have been helpful, but I'll put it on the screen. Yes, so I'll put the pictures of the original braids on, and then some progress pictures of me spinning it up as well. Sorry about the lighting tonight. I am recording at night time rather than in the daytime, so colours might not be brilliant, but it was the only time I had available for filming. The colours aren't going to be as dark as they are in here, so there's some quite purple chunks and some quite green chunks in this bit. So they're just going to be little flecks of colour, and I'm hoping it blends well, because it should do. Might be a little bit whiter than the original, but we'll see if it works. So that's that. Now, the other things that I showed you last time were the pyjama bottoms and the nightie that I was making for my daughters. I've finished both of those, and I will put some pictures in here. Of them wearing the pyjamas and the nightie. They're modelled beautifully for me. All their own poses. I had nothing to do with that. I just had a couple of little bits to do. I think on the pyjamas I had to put some elastic in the waist, and the nightie I had a bit more to do. I had to do some bias binding around the neckline and the armholes, and sew a popper on the back so it would fasten. But that was it. Now, they weren't without problems. I did the elastic in the pyjama bottoms waist, and they fitted lovely, because I was a bit worried they were going to be too tight, but they fitted nicely until my 8-year-old decided to do some improvised gymnastics at bedtime, just leaping about the house as 8-year-olds do, and popped the seam in the gusset. Now, it was my fault because they were hand stitched, they weren't machine stitched, and I should have doubled my thread or used a firmer stitch, but neglected to do that. So I have restitched the gusset with doubled thread and back stitch. So hopefully she can leap around a bit without popping them again. But she loves them. She would wear them happily all the time, and my partner was actually quite jealous and wanted a pair for himself, but I'm not making him pyjamas again. He's already had a pair of pyjamas once. No more. And the nightie, my no, she's not quite 7, she's only 6. She's got another week and a half till she's 7. She loved the nightie, but insisted on wearing it as a dress as soon as I'd finished it, and then promptly spilled yoghurt all down the front of it. So yes, I think it managed about 2 hours wear before it needed to go in the wash, and most of that 2 hours was with the yogurts already spilled down the front of it because we were just at home. So, but it's clean now and it's ready to wear. So whether she'll wear it as a nightie or a dress, I don't know, but I don't mind because it looks good either way, as you'll be able to have seen from the pictures. Yes, the other thing that I showed you was the socks, the Good Afternoon Well Spent socks, and I'm pleased to announce that they will be getting launched. The pattern for those will be launched on Saturday, so hopefully if I get this edited and uploaded tomorrow, it will be the day after. So Saturday the 25th of September, they will be launched on Ravelry and on Love Crafts, but sometimes Love Crafts can take a bit of a while to get signed off, so it might be like the Sunday that they end up on Love Crafts, but we shall see. The plan is for everything to launch on Saturday, sorry, because it's to coincide with when the kits will be available at Yarndale with Lorraine from Peyton and Daughter. So the yarn, the blue and the yellow beautiful yarns that I used are going to be available in the kits with her at Yarndale, along with the pattern, and hopefully they'll all look beautiful, and you can get them there if you're going. I will add some pictures just in case there's people watching that haven't seen the sock pattern. Now, like I say, Lorraine will have kits at Yarndale, and on Ravelry there will be the pattern, and same on Love Crafts. Now, for the first 48 hours after it launches, it will be a free pattern, and then for a week after that there will be a discount code to get it at a reduced price, but then after that week period it's going to go up to full price pattern. So get it early if you want it for free or for not very much. Now, there are 3 cuff sizes and 9 foot lengths given in the pattern, so I think it is worth it as a paid pattern. yes, so hopefully that'll be popular, and I really enjoyed knitting it and making it. The wool was lovely, and I'd quite like to design some more stranded colourwork socks again. That might be one for early next year, I think, depending on what inspiration I get. Yes, there will be a coupon code for the reduced price, and I will put that across the screen somewhere here once I've decided what it's going to be and updated it on Ravelry. Yeah. Despite my dipping back into my journaling, my organisation skills are still a bit all over the shop. They're better than they were when the children were off, but this week I've been a bit, oh no, no. I've got a to-do list and just not been ticking things off it. Yes, so they were all the things I mentioned last time. In terms of new projects, I knitted a whole cardigan. Admittedly, it was a child's cardigan, and I think I just didn't show you it last time because I'd cast it on but not really done much of it. It was a school cardigan for my youngest daughter, so my 6-year-old. They are supposed to wear like branded school cardigans, but trying to trace the sustainability of it, it was interesting, or the source of it, because it was the school uniforms are pretty rubbish for tracking where it was made and who made it and whether the conditions that they made it in were acceptable or not. I know I've tried before when I did the Who Made Your Clothes course with FutureLearn, and you couldn't even track the label name company, let alone the parent company that owned the subsidiary, like 17 levels down. So it's like, okay, I don't really want to be buying those if I can get away with not doing. So I decided to knit them. I knitted some cardigans for my eldest last year, but I've knitted another one for my youngest this year because she needed an extra cardigan. Now, unfortunately, I have had to knit it out of acrylic, which isn't ideal, but their school are still, in terms of the coronavirus and COVID precautions, insisting that they have clean, fresh uniforms every single day, which means that her uniform is getting a lot of washing. And yes, as I've already shrunk one of her cardigans last week, one of her hand knit cardigans last week, didn't want to risk another mishap. So it's acrylic because it needs to be able to stand up to a lot of washing and a lot of wearing. So yes, not ideal, but better and easier to trace the production methods of the yarn than the school uniform. The acrylic I got was from the Yarn to Cone range by Woolly Knits, and I will include a picture of her wearing the finished cardigan here. Unfortunately, I can't give you a pattern name because I did basically just make it up as I went along. Well, not quite. I started off with the Schools Out cardigan pattern, just for the sort of basic numbers at the top, because it's top down raglan sleeve, but I made the front bigger because on the Schools Out cardigan, basically you don't do any increases on the front, and then you knit sorry, a shawl bit on afterwards, not a shawl, a collar bit on afterwards. Just a lace band. Oh, tickly throat. But I didn't want that, so I've made it so it will fasten at the front. But I basically knitted until I got bored, and then went, I'm just going to crochet the rest of it, which sounds like it could have been a dreadful mistake, but it wasn't. It actually worked out quite well. So I knitted sort of the shoulders and the top half down to sort of waist level, and then cast it off, and then picked up and crocheted some V-stitch bits until I'd gone so far, and then went, this isn't growing fast enough. I'll go from doing a V-stitch using half trebles to using trebles, English or UK crochet terminology, and then did it a bit longer and went, that's about long enough, and then did some scallop or shell edging, and that was that. And then the sleeves I just knitted straight until they were long enough, and then crocheted around the cuffs to bring it in a bit to make it almost slightly bell sleeved shape. And then I couldn't be bothered picking up the button band with knitting either, so I did that in crochet and just knitted sort of loop, not knitted, crocheted loops for the buttonholes, and it actually looks surprisingly thought out. I won't say it looks good. It looks okay, but it looks intentional, even though it was just I'll do a bit of this, a bit of that. Hope it turns out for the best. Now one thing it did teach me was that I must never design anything in bright red yarn, because it was an absolute pain to photograph. It just blew out everything, and I'm like, can't see the stitch definition, you can't see anything. It was just a big red blob. So yes, note to self, do never, even though red is one of my favourite colours, I must never design anything in bright red. Knit it, yes. Design it, no. Speaking of red, my one new project that I have started, that I have got to show you rather than just inserted photos, is this. Now, it's crochet again, because after the cardigan, the school cardigan, I just haven't been able to motivate myself to do any knitting at all. Crochet I can just about manage a bit here and there if I'm in the mood, but this is what I've got so far. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. I can hold it a bit closer. Now, if I was a professional podcaster, I would have it written down what the pattern was and who designed it, and lots of useful information. I don't. I'm not. So I'll have to put it on the screen. I'm giving editing Nadine a lot of work to do. Never mind. Anyway, so the pattern you will have seen at the bottom of the screen, and the yarn that I'm using, predictably, is from Woolly Knits. It's some of their countryside tweed, and the pattern does call for you to use DK yarn held double, and so that's why I am using 2 balls, but I had 5 balls each of these colours, so rather unhelpfully they don't tell me what colour they are. Right, this is where I lift some wool down and it all comes tumbling out. Oh, see? Dropping. can't even read it. I will try another one. Oh. This one I can read. So there's two shades. There's a sort of orangey red and a slightly purpley red. They're both mild anyway, so they just look a bit more mild. I didn't have enough of either colour to crochet the whole thing, but used together I should have enough. So the orangey red is in the Pembroke shade, and the dark one Crampion. I won't try and put those back until after I've switched off the video. So yes, but I've had a dreadful time with this. This is about the fourth or fifth time I've made it, and this is still the first sleeve, because try as I might, I could not get gauge for a long time. I was way off with the hook size in the pattern. So I think I had to go up one hook size for the ribbon in the end, and possibly two, if not more, for the body of the sleeve. So I don't know if I just crochet strangely or what, but I now have gauge, but it did involve a lot of ripping back and swearing. Although it was quite funny, because one time when I frogged what I'd been making, I was sat with my partner on the settee watching telly, and I was grumping about it not being the right size, and I'm like, I'm just gonna have to rip it out. And his face, when I just sat there and went rip it, and pulled it all out, it was just like, oh, like, no, it's fine, it'll work up quite quickly again, it's crochet, it'll be fine. It was just the utter shock that I'd just happily, or look, without being too visibly upset, just ripped it all out and started again. But as we know, that's much better than having a garment that doesn't fit and you can't wear. But sorry, I just thought somebody was coming up my front steps, which freaked me out slightly because it's 10 o'clock at night. So I don't think it was. I think it was just the dog hearing me talking in the kitchen and getting excited. I'm hoping. Right, so yes, that's pretty much all I've been making. I have been doing quite a lot of mending, but as it's only been a couple of episodes since I showed you my mending pile, I won't show you that again because it's repetitive, it's all the same. So it's patching holes in leggings and t-shirts, and oh yeah, dog's barking now. I need to go sort that out. Just an update, because I did leave it like a really badly scripted horror film with my, oh, Sandy's, dog's barking and somebody's coming up the steps. There was nobody there. The dog was barking at her own reflection. Everything's now fine. So anyway, look out for the new pattern coming out on Saturday the 25th, and remember to use the discount code and or get it for free for the first 48 hours, and happy crafting, and I will speak to you again soon. Okay, goodbye.